This week in comic books over in DC land, we got War of the World, Action Comics, and I finally figured out the thing that has been fascinating me about that story, and Midnighter put it best. So we're going to take a little tiny dive into that one. Over in the land of Marvel, the triumphant return of the notorious villain, Humbug. Don't know much about him? Don't worry, I'll catch you up on that. And over in the land of Independence, Ghost in a Cage came out, and I like the concept, but I don't like the story. I'm conflicted with this one, and I may need your help. All that and a load more other comic books right after the intro. Hey, you wonderful weirdos, I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're super cool for swinging by. I picked up a load of comic books this weekend, got a ton of notes, and a lot of good things happened. And actually, I wasn't mad at everything. So let's dive right into it with Teen Titans number 13. This was good. So I don't know the difference between a brief appearance, a cameo appearance, first appearance. It seems like everybody's got their own definitions for it, right? But according to this, we got the newest unofficial club at Teen Titan Academy called Young Justice Dark. It could have been in the comic book before, and it could have been mentioned, whatever the case may be. But they called themselves that in here. But a lot of other cool stuff happened. This is a tie-in for that whole Suicide Squad War on Earth 3. It's kind of a tie-in for that. Rick Flag's Suicide Squad kind of breaks into the hideout of the Teen Titans because they're out of the tower. And they do the classic trope where these are really the good guys and these are really the good guys, and they fight a little bit, and then it's like Rick Flag shows up and he's like, whoa, 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 no. We need your help. No, we don't need to fight. We just need help, right? Conflicting ideas first engage and then come together. So I like that. I always like that. It's tropey. It's weird. It's not vindictive of life in any way, but I enjoyed it. So definitely, maybe pick up a couple more issues of that. Next, okay, Action Comics number 1041. I like this. Midnighters running around dropping bodies on War World. Superman's like not there in the beginning of the story, so there's a spoiler for you. He's dropping bodies, and everybody keeps getting him confused. Is that Superman? Is that Superman? He's supposed to come back and save us. And then he like breaks the chains to free some people, and of course chains mean something different to them, right? The links of the people you've taken, they're almost a badge of honor. And he throws it, this lady throws up in his face, how dare you take my honor, or something to that degree, the thing that makes me unique. And he's like, what is it with you people? The thing that suppresses you is this thing that you are most proud of. And while I've been reading this, I kept that nugget in the back of my head, but I wasn't really sure if they were going with that. So how does this really work in real life? This is where things are going to get weird. And I understand if this upsets some people, but I apologize in advance. But we all have seen this before. Somebody that suffers from something, and everything around them has to change because of this thing they suffer from. My favorite one is people that say they have OCD, right? Like, it's got to be this way because I have OCD, and they're kind of quirky about it. OCD, you're on the verge of agonizing panic and dread if this certain thing doesn't happen, right? It's not just an annoyance to you. So, but, people like to throw that up, like, oh, I got OCD, it's got to be this way. Why? The majority of us don't want to do it that way, right? People like to throw up these little terms and these things that normally, if you truly suffered from them, you're not in charge of the situation. You have a mental illness. Oh, that, right? I can feel the thumbs down on that statement right there. But that's, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't want somebody telling me what to do by their standards if they're mentally compromised in some way. Does that make, that's... And that's not saying that I got the best answer either, right? So let's not jump on the comments on that one like, oh, then you figure it out. Like, that's not what I'm saying either. There's plenty of other avenues here. But that's what this story's kind of telling us. It's like, hey, I got this thing that suppresses me. Don't take it away from me. It's my badge of honor. And Midnighter's like, nah, No, you need to listen to me. We're doing this. Freedom, right? We're doing this. And it was really cool. Superman shows up at the end, ready to hopefully get a little aggressive. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I really like this whole Superman needing a shield and a sword. But I like the concept of it, right? I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, I like this. And again, I apologize if I hurt some feelings out there. It's not my intention, but you know, it is, right? Okay, moving on. Task Force Z. I've been enjoying this. So, but this was just kind of this is what really happened issue, right? So we go back into the past. We find out how these two zombie making teams came to be, and Waller's actual influence in it. And all the little tidbits that if you've been reading this, you're like, how did that happen? This was probably the answer for it. I didn't find this issue particularly interesting. At this point, I was already invested in the story. I didn't need a recap before, the story moved on. I just accepted that these two teams existed. But for most people that ask a lot of questions, you got your answers. There it is. Pretty cool cover, too. I like everybody rocking out on the car. Oh, Batman shows up in here, too, because Batman shows up in everything. Everything. He shows up. Oh, and yeah, Red Hood did that speech, right? That he's like been doing now in at least 3 other different titles where it's like, why don't you trust me? I made a mistake. You raised me to do this. Blah blah blah. He did that thing. I don't know why. When I read that, it just comes off whiny. Like it just comes off whiny. Like I need you to change because I'm the one trying to do better. No, no. Like, all right, moving on. All right, so Batman Detective Comics. So Batman's shown back up into this story. I didn't mean to pick this up. It was a complete accident. I thought this storyline was over because I skipped it. I wasn't particularly. I got kind of annoyed with the whole look at mental institutions and scam artists running them, which was confirmed in here that Dr. Ward was actually a scam artist and pushing drugs out in there. So whatever. And then the report's trying to get to the bottom of the story. Well, for the reader, right? The story's over. Like this issue really didn't need to happen, except for the great search for Psycho Pirate. Which again, I'm like, I don't particularly find that interesting. And the backstory just took a nosedive too. Also, the mayor's wife is a key figure now. Why I don't know. Apparently, there's going to be some sort of connection with. If I had to take a guess, um, Psycho Pirate. I would assume that something there is going to happen. Not relationship wise. Maybe she'll turn into a villain, or I don't know. But that's going to be a thing because they made sure they made a big deal out of that. Next. All right, moving into Marvel. Okay. Venom, #1, Lethal Protector came back out. And the triumphant return of Buck Meddy. Humbug came back. His first appearance was in Web of Spider-Man, #19. Came out in 1986. This is a slightly different version, a little nerdier one. So if you don't know, he basically he has bug. Well, he doesn't have bug powers. He has gimmicks that give him bug powers. Is the best way to say it. He can talk to roaches, and he can do ultrasonic noises. Like most insects can do. I guess I don't know, like the weevil from someplace and wherever, right? And this is obviously a problem for Venom because loud noises, right? So it's funny, it's quirky, right? But then there's some other stuff going on in the background with the Life Foundation cooking up a scheme in here as well. And of course, everybody hates Venom at this point because he's trying to be a good guy, but he doesn't really know how. Right? We're taking it back to that era of Lethal Protector. We're picking back up from back then. And of course, he still is very much in love with his ex-girlfriend, who is got a fiance now and is moving on. If you like classic Venom, Lethal Protector, you were a fan of that back in the day reading it, you would probably enjoy this because it almost feels like it just picked right up where it left off. So that was super fun. Next, Savage Spider-Man. This is weird, right? So we have a group in this, and they're a type of Puritan, I guess is the best way to say it. They don't like the mixture of different bloods, right? Now, I know everybody wants to go right into the guys that wear the costumes, the ghost costumes, right? We're not talking about those guys because there's a mixed group of people that don't believe that their races should intermingle. So what their whole goal is now is to kill off everybody that is basically a human mutt, right? And they tested in Tennessee. Guess what's going on in Tennessee? Savage Spider-Man and Baron Zemo's duking it out, right? Baron Zemo's army shows up, and that gets made quick work, but they end up capturing him, and they set off their supersonic woo-woo device, and for some reason, Savage Spider-Man survived it, which is weird, right? Because it's a mixture of clones, so I think we're going to get more clone woo-woo in this, which is I'm not a fan of clone woo-woo because it's nonsense. But regardless, I do like the savagery of this. I like the basic animal instinct of the character. It's very pertinent, I would say. You know, be the alpha, be in charge, be the blah blah blah. Somebody on YouTube said that this is vindictive of toxic masculinity. I put in the comments, I don't know what that word means. Stop making up words. Pocan Joe trolling. All right, next, Wolverine Patch. Just like Lethal Protector, if you liked the old school Patch, this kind of gives you that nostalgia that you're looking for. I liked this better than I like most other X-Men titles, but that's not a far stretch for me after reading a lot of them. It's like, ugh. But I did enjoy this, but I don't see this as a must-have book for me. But what the cool thing about it is we get Patch back and he's in his little tuxedo the entire time, and it's classic Wolverine, and he's stuck in the middle of a situation because he needs to help a friend, right? That, if you remember the old school Wolverine books, that was always the case. And this one, we got a group of Russians. We have some rebel leader, general guy, a secret laboratory testing on monkeys, some natives, and a prince that needs to find out what's going on over there. So we send in Patch, and we have our first battle in here. It's interesting. It's kind of interesting. I love the artwork in it. It's very reminiscent of old school Wolverine type stuff. You know, yeah. So yeah, it was okay. Better than X-Men. Not as good as Action Comics. We'll just say that. Yeah. Okay. Moving on into Independence this week. We have Demons. Oh, this was good. I'll be honest with you, just between you and me, don't tell anybody else. I didn't like Something is Killing the Children. You can go back and check the videos. I was like, when is something going to happen? Even the most explosive things in it just seemed extremely mundane to me. And I want to say the art was the reason for that. But the truth is the story just kind of dragged. This doesn't do that. And this is about a young girl who now is a demon hunter because her dad was a demon hunter, and the throwing religion into it and science at the same time is brilliantly done. This is that the world beyond world type of thing, you know, like demons and monsters exist, and you know, but they have to stay hidden or they transform from human to demon, whatever the case may be. The demons in here have very foul mouths. Come to find out, that's vindictive of. Not vindictive, that is relative to demons in this storyline. And then we find out about the forging of the sword. So we kind of got the whole catch up right here, right? And then we're going to launch into the story. I liked this. I really did. And obviously the middle finger is a very important thing in here. I'm just throwing that out there for everybody at Reddit. You know what I'm talking about. So this was good, and I enjoyed it. And all this stuff in the back here where it kind of has these weird note thingies. It's interesting to read, but if you're not particularly interested in how something's created or heavy dialogue, or not dialogue, but heavy narrative into the world, you probably don't even need it. And I'll be honest with you, for $6, that's a pretty thick book, right? Nothing fancy with the cover. Didn't need a whole bunch of other stuff. You just got a bunch of story, and that was all right. I enjoyed that. All right, next, and this one's perplexing me, and I need your help. I like the concept of the story. I'm very much enjoyed it, but um, the story itself I didn't like. Right? So Ghost in a Cage. So this is I'm going to go ahead and say allegory for right now because we don't have the full story, so I can't really determine it. About energy, right? So you got like coal, water, blah, 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 blah. And there's this tower that kind of has these levels, and they're actually accurate into like historical times of when we use different types of power. And the hologram of the creator of this tower that does all this wonderful things has a hologram of himself that activated a new source of energy, we'll say. We'll just call it that for right now. It's really just a robot, right? And of course, a robot just being born needs a babysitter. So some random cat from tech support is like basically babysitting this thing with a backpack with a hologram on it. This sounds ridiculous. It's because it kind of is. It's a little convoluted in the whole allegory thing. But I did like the fact if this robot is a representation of a new type of energy out there and it's defeating all these other type of energies and it needs human support to make it work. I like that idea. If that's even part of it, it's kind of hard to tell right now with it being the first issue. I would go along with that. However, I will say this. Whenever man creates something, there's a group of people that have a problem with it. Like clean, renewable energy that can be used for a very, very long time, right? There's always been a question of man. And then the moment we came up with nuclear power, everybody had a problem. So no, and now I get it, right? You can name 3 cases in history. And for most of my viewers out there, you could probably only name 1, depending on your age, right? One that you actually witnessed, on television, the one over in Japan, the disaster with the nuclear facility over there, Chernobyl, and there was one more. I'll let you comment down below on that one, and it wasn't that bad, but it still was a thing. So, creating something and it defeating everything else does not, I don't know, rescue it from public scrutiny at the end of the day. Just throwing that out there. So, I don't know. We'll see. Well, if my comic book shop gets issue 2 of this, we'll see what we can do about taking a deeper dive into this. Like I said, I like the concept of it. I just don't like this particular way it's being delivered. And I'll be honest with you. And again, I hate criticizing art. I really do. But when the art just pulls you out of the story, I don't mind something being in black and white and heavily shaded and in grayscale. That stuff doesn't bother me. What happens is you get these weird kind of like battle scenes and you don't really understand what's going on in it. And the story's just given dialogue. There's no narrative to help support any of it. So it kind of took me out of it in certain areas. But then again, I do not have an eye for art. So definitely comment down below if I'm missing something in the art. Again, I'm not an artist, so I wouldn't know. So that's my. Oh wait, I picked up 2 other things. And while you're here, I'll go ahead and show you. A lot of talk about these books going on out there, and I saw them and I got them for $1 a piece. So you let me know what they're worth. If they're worth, they aren't worth anything. But you tell me, right? Young Bloods, #1. And I only picked up #1 because, and you guessed it, #2 was in there too. First appearance of Prophet in comic books. By the way, if you read this and you're like, that book is awesome. It's a very, very different type of story. It's 90s stuff, right? Everything had to be over the top action. So yeah, I was able to get these. And again, I only picked up #1 because I saw #2. And I don't want to be that guy that just picks up keys that he finds in a dollar bin box because that's very annoying to people. So I took them both. So yeah. All right, guys, that's my whole review. What did you think about it? Definitely comment down below. Let me know. Things going on in the community. I'm almost done with the Evil Layer project. So if I'm a little dirty right now, I can't really tell in the camera. But if I'm slightly dirty right now, it's because I'm still working on the project, trying to get it done. Because, yeah, 2 knives. Ugh, it's crazy. So yeah. Other than that, I got nothing else, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.